and some wonderful friends and people who've been in my publicity course and delightful clients. Oh, yay, it's so good, like a little party. I love this. So glad to have you all here today and just delighted to be with you. We are going to go over some wonderful ways that you can get your name out there and some good ways to connect for a new way of being in this great time of publicity. And so I really want to say to you, this is a great time for your publicity. I know you're probably thinking, really, Jill? Yes, really, because for many of you, it is a beautiful time to get an important word out there about who you are. And when I say who you are, what I really mean is who, what, and what you do, how it affects and impacts others. So to me, that's a real blessing. And I want you to be a blessing right now because we need it. And it is a moment where your actions, where your message can make a huge difference for others. So as you're listening today, I want you to shift your perception and think about how can you take your message and put it out there in a way that is more powerful, that is consistent with who you are, that might be a shift for some of you in terms of a message that matters for right now. Okay, so be thinking about that, especially as we go through some of the pieces of today's focus for you. And then I want you to think about, well, how could you take your message and maybe make it, in some of your cases, wider, in some of your cases, narrower, right? How can we do it so that your message really matters? Patsy Sanders, who's one of my clients on here, we had fun doing that. And what I said to Patsy, there you are, wave, Patsy. Patsy, I said, you remember? I said, okay, this is your message for right now. And that is, because she's a stylist, master stylist, really, she's so much more than that and really helps you create a vision and a look for yourself that creates much more dynamic energy and frankly much more money. And I know because I'm one of her clients and I'm so grateful for that. And Patsy, one of the things that we were doing in one of your sessions or in between is I sent you a text with a new message called, "Does this Zoom make me look fat?" Now, don't you think that's funny? That's funny, right? See, they're laughing. I told you. And so for her in this moment, that's what's true, right? Because it's a fun story. And so I want you all to be thinking about what's an interesting story for this moment that perhaps you could shift that works for this moment. Forget maybe who you've been in the past even, right? Got that? And think about who you're going to be in the future for what your story works for right now. And I think that's really an important key for all of you to keep in mind here as we talk today and support you with more visibility building activities for you, okay? So that's a real piece. Like, this is your first question. How can I shift my message like we did with Patsy, right? How can I shift my message for right now for what works right now? And how would it be relevant for these times? And so I actually see, I'm going to tell you good news. You ready? I actually see a tremendous opportunity for many of you for right now. I know some of you have been in my publicity course, and for those of you who haven't, I'll let you know how you can be. Some of you have worked with me privately. Ashton, I know we're going to support you in selling and creating your book for the new London Book Fair, and some of you have done other pieces with me. Rodney, we're going to be working with your book too. I don't see you quite on video, but I'm so excited to be doing that for you. And I think that many of you can take your message and take it to a whole new level. And that's exciting to me, okay? That's exciting to me. But I have one question. Who's wearing shoes? Who's wearing shoes? Come on, fess up. Raise your hand if you're wearing shoes. And by the way, the slippers do not count as shoes, okay? So I'm wearing slippers, I'll just tell you. Who's wearing shoes? Let me see. Like sweatpants are the new normal, right? All right, we got some shoe wearers here. I love it. I was at a meeting the other day, because the good news about these times is you can attend all kinds of fabulous meetings. Have you noticed that? And by the way, let me just share with you that my definition of publicity happens from the minute you walk out your door. Okay, so you might just be walking out your door to, well, take out the garbage right now. But nonetheless, your publicity, for me, I'm walking every day for 30 minutes, right? I'm walking around the neighborhood. That's an image. That's a projection of who you are. So with your publicity happening from the minute you walk out your door or the minute you get on Zoom, my friends, right? That's publicity. You got to be thinking about all the image of who you are and what you do. So anyway, I attended this fabulous meeting the other night, and I'm like laying down on my couch with I have 4 cats, and I had 2 of them on me, all snuggled. And I went, now, and I didn't even have any shoes on that one. And I said, now this is a heck of a way to attend a meeting, don't you think? So I love that, but take a look at some ways that you could spread your message further and wider in a time that is so open for virtual networking, for virtual connecting. And I think that's something also to really pay attention to. Where do you want to show up, right? Like, I am a member of multiple women's organizations, like National Association of Women Business Owners, Women's Prosperity Network, where I know Gail from. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. And different people, maybe some others on here too. So, I'm a member of different things where I know some of you from different places. And that's a beautiful thing. Where are you networking? I'm a member of eWomen Network, so I'm attending meetings in Connecticut, even though I'm in the Bay Area. Or I'm a member of Polka Dots, and I'm attending meetings in different cities because I don't have to be there. So I want you to be thinking about this. Is a great PR possibility for many of you to get your name out there bigger, wider, broader. What organizations are you already a part of? Like, I'm a part of CEO Space. Who's my CEO Space friends? Wave. I know some of you are a CEO Space colleague, so that's beautiful. We're meeting virtually every 2 to 3 months. There's just so many ways to create more visibility factor. And so I want you to really take advantage of that right now and keep spreading your name, your wings, your possibility of meeting new people. Funny enough, in the past, what has it been, 6-7 weeks of lockdown, at least in the Bay Area, and we are still, what's interesting to me is that I've met some of the best people. And the other piece is that I've reconnected with some amazing people. And so I'm going to ask you, from a PR perspective, take a look at your contacts, your connections. Who do you know that you can reconnect with? All right. So if you look at my calendar, we got a lot of reconnections happening. And who are the new connections that you would like to connect with? And if you, same thing, you look at my calendar, probably really 30% of the day is devoted and dedicated to new connections from new networking groups, people I've met, or, creating new opportunities for podcasts. And so that's a great thing. In fact, I want you to immediately go to iTunes and put in your topics and start looking to see who actually is doing podcasts on your topics. And here's the thing, I want you to know, small and large are both good. So, people say, well, how many listeners does it have? And here's what I want to tell you. I actually got hired by Mark Victor Hansen to help him with a book that he and Robert Allen were doing, The 1 Minute Millionaire. If you've never read it, go read it. It's fabulous. And they had me in some of the initial publicity discussions talking about strategy, what to do, how to do it, how to create a visibility factor for the book. And one of the things Mark told me that I thought was really interesting and totally super was the story about the fact that when they were first doing Chicken Soup for the Soul, Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield as the authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul, which, by the way, sold 85 million copies and counting, right? And they actually sold the company for almost as much. I'd say that's pretty darn good, wouldn't you? And one of the things Mark told me, he said, Jill, you know, I want to share with you that I really understand the value and the power of publicity. He says, because, you know, when Chicken Soup for the Soul was first out, we had a promise to each other, Mark and Jack Canfield did. And he said their promise was that they would do everything and anything publicity-wise. So they would, you know, get up and do these small little radio shows in God knows where, America, right? And wake up at like 4 in the morning and 5 in the morning and do these shows in different parts because what they knew and understood was the cumulative and consistent focus of the power of publicity. And so this is what I really want to, shall we say, impress upon you today, is the power and the focus of doing publicity consistently will bring you the results you desire. That I promise you. And it's those of you who are willing to do consistent, persistent actions that will draw consistent success to you. And I think that's really an important piece, right? And so with that, I want to, Mary Beth, why don't you actually do, I just realized we didn't actually do an official introduction, and I'm going to actually ask you to do one of me. Why would I do that, my friends? Because some of you do not know me, and I do not know you. The other thing is, I want you to get in the habit of listening newly every time you're somewhere, so that you are hearing new things about the people you know. You know, what I've learned in my publicity courses when we do a really fun exercise is that there are things about people, including my clients and people I'm representing for books, that I just didn't even know about them, that I get to learn again. So always listen newly and listen carefully. Go ahead, Mary Beth. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm here. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Mary Beth, and I'm Jill's assistant. And Jill Lublin is an international speaker on the topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She's the author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and co-author of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Her latest book, The Profit of Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories. Jill is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is the CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with well over 100,000 people, plus the national and international media. Jill teaches her publicity crash course as both live events and currently as virtual events, and consults and speaks all over the world. She also helps authors to create book deals with major publishers and agents, as well as obtain foreign rights deals. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jill Lublin.
Thank you, Mary Beth. I appreciate it. So that's my intro in literally 4 sentences. And that's, you know, something that I think is actually really important, that you have a good intro, a good bio that can easily be read and simply sums up who you are. So, you know, my friends, that doesn't tell you everything about me, all my personal stuff, or the fact that I have 4 cats, or the fact that I love nature and chase sunsets, or anything else about me, perhaps. But what it does do is solidify and give you a base to understand who I am and what I do. And of course, if you notice, it got all the most important things out. And if you look behind me, these are my 4 books that she was talking about, right? They're right behind me. Those of you who are authors, I want your books right where you are. I had a consulting session with a client today. She's got a book coming out in maybe, probably 6 months. I said, you know what I want? I want the cover of that book done, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not the exact one, even if it's not exactly the title. And I want that in the forefront of what your where your setting is. So those of you who have even, small books or books you're going to create, start putting it in the front. So Rodney, I know you're on here too, and we're going to represent your book. Rodney's got a beautiful book he's doing. And one of the things I do is I help people get book deals without a word written. And so I'm always going to encourage you to, if you have a book of any kind, I want you to put it out. And I just have to share one thing because I'm so excited. I got in the mail a beautiful package from a woman I helped get her book ready. Actually, what I mean is we pitched it without a word written. Guess what? Here it is, called Power Up Your Profits by Susie Carter. Some of you may know this woman as a woman who worked with Lisa Nichols. And when we pitched this book, it's now going to be on Simon & Schuster literally in about 4 months. So this is what the book really looks like. And when we pitched this book, let me just tell you, not a word was written. Isn't that super cool? Simon & Schuster, 6-figure deal, my friends. That's the power of putting together your publicity, because one of the reasons they took her is because of the power of her influence. And I want you to have more influence. So what I know about publicity is that publicity equals, and Mary Beth, let's show them the slide on this. Publicity equals high return on investment. What do I mean by that? I mean by that what publicity does is it gives you not only high return on investment, it gives you more sales and increased prospects. It gives you more visibility and more credibility. It gives you more clients and makes you more money. And it gives you more exposure in the marketplace. And I only mean the good kind. Now, I also want to tell you that on this webinar, you're going to be able to ask and have questions answered. And I'd love to be able to help you with that. So just know that you can chat in some questions if you'd like. I'll also come on and we'll take a few volunteers. And I'd love to be able to work with you live. Okay, so just putting that out there. And remember in the beginning, I was talking about it is really all about your message. Yes, it's all about your message. And the message of who you are and what you put out there is what's so key for putting your right message into the media. And a formula that I love, that I want all of you to adopt, is called this. The problem today is. And I want you to think about that with regard to what could you put out there, whether it's a pandemic kind of story, or it's something that maybe we're laying the groundwork and planting the seeds for 3, 6, and 9 months from now, my friends. Because you know what? Your publicity happens that way too. Consistent, concise, remember, actions is what creates the power of your message getting out there. So I'd like you to think about this. Fill in the blank. The problem today is, now remember, that's today. Now, if your message is about ongoing or setting up business success for the future, terrific, or setting up another kind of success. I mean, my clients are everywhere from products and services, consultants, authors, speakers, small business owners of all kinds, chiropractors, real estate agents, really multiple industries. And the truth about publicity and the way I work with people is that your message is what matters. Your message is what matters. And this formula, my friends, really works. In fact, one gentleman who took my virtual publicity course out of Australia, he told me that, because we actually do this, like, you know, get down and get your message focused. He told me that he actually shifted his message on his Facebook page right after the course. And do you know, he got 250 likes immediately. Now, I don't know about you, but I want 250 of all of that goodness. And that's the power of what publicity does. Now, let me show you a next part of what we need to do here. Mary Beth, go ahead to the next slide. Because when you're thinking about your message, I want you to also create what I like to call your ooh, ah factor. What do I mean by that? I mean the part of you that makes other people go ooh and ah. One of my clients, Precious, she is actually a neuroscientist nurse. And one of the things about her is she takes people on a mission to Uganda, medical missions. And actually on one of her medical missions, literally treated 5,000 people in 3 days. I'm like, honey, I don't know how you did that, but that's a miracle. And one of the things she would constantly forget, and I know I have her permission to say this, she would constantly forget to tell people that she was actually a neuroscientist nurse. Now, do you think that would give her a different credibility? Of course. That's an ooh, ah factor. What is it about you that makes other people go ooh and ah? Or what is it about you that's relevant for this time? So go ahead to the next slide. Like, for instance, in this moment, right? You want to be using what I like to call everything you've got. So, for example, when The Prophet of Kindness came out, I looked at that book, and as much as I'd love to tell you, ooh, I got a new book out, that's not the story. The story was the divided states of America. And if you see on the slide, the press release was sent, and the first words of the press release, actually the headline, it was called The Divided States of America, which literally got me into 7 major market TV interviews, including Fox News, and in Atlanta, in Arizona, in San Francisco, in Sacramento, and all kinds of CBS News morning shows by Skype. Some of the Fox News I did in person, and some by Skype. Literally, we've gotten 75 radio and podcast interviews, and counting, because they still keep coming. Inc. magazine, Forbes small business, all kinds of places and spaces that, believe me, I would not have gotten into had I not found the right message. And so when you look at this slide, if you notice the lower third are logos of media I've gotten. And my friends, let me just tell you, that's a third of what I got. I just put on there the most recognizable media so that you would relate to it, right? And so now as I look to see what's happening, if you notice the word that people are using a lot, the word is kindness. So, guess what? There's been a seed that was planted in me about doing kindness circles. And so now I'm doing kindness circles, literally monthly. Lyle, you've been on one, and I think a few of you have actually been on one. Please, and I invite all of you to them, that I'm doing free kindness circles. And the next event is May 20th. Please come and join me. And actually on the slide is how you can join. And Mary Beth, go ahead and put that in the chat too, because you're all welcome to come onto the kindness circles and be more kind to each other. And so that's how I'm using my story in this moment, in this time. Got it? Okay, so this is just something we always want to be looking at. How do you recreate a story right now that's for right now? Let's go to the next slide. I want to show you a next piece of that. And so as we're looking at the focus of who you are, you always want to be saying yes to the media, no matter what they ask you, no matter what it's about. One of my clients, she's a relationship expert. Do you think in this moment, it's a magnificent time to be getting media on relationships? Because of course you're in quarantine with people that perhaps you all of a sudden you're really in a new relationship with, and a constant relationship with, or parenting issues that people have never had before. So that my parenting coach is going out in major media after major media talking about that. How do you parent in a time that's an intense and stressful moment? And so no matter what, you're going to say yes. No matter what the media asks you, no matter what the topic is. Now, I'd like to come back to screen and actually ask some of you to share with me what would be you could do, what would be something that you'd like to talk about, that you can talk about, or B, maybe what's the problem today? And come play with me, and let's see how we can help and support you. You can raise your hand. I see a hand up already. Wonderful. Mary Beth, let's pick 3. I see Yasmin. Let me just see if I see any other hands. I see Lyle. And let's just see if Mary Beth, do you see one hand raised on the chat?
I only see Lyle and Yasmin as well.
Okay, great. I see Terry. Terry raised her hand too.
Oh, okay, there she is.
Okay, terrific. I know you got to sometimes got to slide the screen and we got to see everybody, right? It's so super cool. So here's what I want you all to do. I want you to listen to their questions and your answer like you were listening for you. Why? Because you're going to come up with some things that you're going to hear some things that will be relevant for you. And please know when I'm answering other people's questions, I'm always teaching all of you something. So one thing I've learned, listen, I have, how many coaches, Mary Beth? I think 3. Yes, I have 3 coaches. They're different. Each one is different for different parts of my business. And that doesn't even count the spiritual coaches I work with or financial coaches or a woman I exercise with online every Tuesday, I consider my coach, you know, different things, right? So I want you to be listening for what is it in the answer that helps and supports you for where you are right now. All right? Okay, Yasmin, you're on. You can either give me a question or practice the problem solution or give me everything you've got, so to speak, meaning how can you be using everything you've got? Please.
I want to try and give you everything I got, if that's okay. The problem today is that parents or everybody hasn't worked out how to merge screen time with connecting. All you have to do is merge the screen time. So I come up with an online course, which is tiny little activities, fun challenges. So everyone, because their attention span is really small, they watch these tiny little videos, which could be about anything, because I thought of hundreds, because back then I was a chicken. Okay. And my story is that if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I had heart disease and I had 6 kids. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I was in agony, and I still did this. I wrote a book, and from the book...
Okay, wait. I'm going to stop you. What? Hang on. I'm going to stop. Although I want you to tell me what's the name of the book.
I haven't published it. It's called Different Dimensions, but the online course was a spin-off of the book. I wouldn't have come to the I wouldn't have had the idea if I hadn't written the book, because it was about coping skills. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, so I used my imagination by fluke. It was like 2002, right? And I created this world where my kids were, right, but they were in creature form, so they had fur, so there wasn't any clothes to watch, and they ate the vegetation, so there wasn't any dishes. So in this realm, it was so much fun. So I used to go to this realm all the time. You know, I dream about this realm, and I was in pain. I used to go to this realm. So like I decided to write about this realm, take the step from the real world to the imaginary world and sort it out there, and it worked, and I'm still alive, and it's really, cool. And
Congratulations.
Yeah, but I want to bring it to the world.
First of all, beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah, I want to bring it to the world.
Here's the thing, Yasmin, though. I got it, but I want to call out something, and this is for all of you. And I love you, but you're so passionate about what you do, and I get that, Yasmin, I hear that. But here's the truth. Everybody cannot deal with every detail of your story. Okay. So what I always look to see is where can we get the most important parts of the story? So I heard that you were down and literally out. You couldn't breathe, and you had 6 children and you were down with I don't know if it's chronic illness. We don't have to go into that right now, or cancer, or what it was, right? And we might name it and we might not, because it may or may not be relevant. And so during that time, what I discovered was an opportunity to help kids, keep them busy. And now in this pandemic time, many of you have children and you need to keep them busy. So I've got some easy, simple ways that you can take, quick, easy courses and have your kids stay busy and stay out of your hair. You see where I'm going, right? Now, we may shift that story slightly, but what I did was I took your bigger story, and yes, I narrowed down, because many of you, and even in the telling, and this is for all of you, we don't want to tell so much. We want to give, I like to call it appetizers, not full meals. So you will find, those of you who've been in my publicity course, you notice when we get to this part about the story, I'm not giving you a lot of time, very purposely. And, excuse me, Yasmin, for interrupting. It's never, a personal thing, but I want to teach people to be, I call it, you know, concise and precise. Because
Mhm.
most media interviews, you've got, check it out, 3 to 5 minutes to make an impression. All those Fox TV news stories I told you I was on, do you know an average Fox News story was 4 minutes and 20 seconds? 4 minutes and 20 seconds to talk about everything in a book. Or, you know, truth is, we didn't really talk about the book. We talked about kindness. You see where I'm going. So you've got a great story about parenting, about how to deal with these times. You have a powerful story, and you got a powerful story personally. So what I would like to do is weave the two together, which I started to actually do for you, the personal story into the 6 kids. Now, what do you do in pandemic times? And here's some things you can do. You see where I'm going? You see the 1, 2, 3 of that?
Yeah.
Yasmin?
Yeah, I wrote it all down.
You got that?
Mhm.
Oh, good. And where are you calling in from?
Barbados.
Oh, lovely. Well, that's a great place to quarantine.
I flew from Cardiff, UK in March before it happened, because UK wasn't doing anything and I got 4 underlying, you know, so I just thought, I want to see this work. I don't want to die yet. You know? Yeah.
Yes. Well, you're going to get that workout. Congratulations. I really think it's a beautiful story. And I think you have a beautiful story to combine. So powerful, powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to, and by the way, when I bring you in, and thank you, Yasmin, I want you to say your name and where you're from would be great. And I saw Lyle next. Lyle, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Jill. Thanks for having me. Welcome. Hi, group. My name is Lyle Benjamin. I'm in New York City, undergoing the 2nd month of lockdown. So, Jill, what I'm doing is, well, the problem today is that COVID-19 has negatively impacted nearly everyone in the world, and none more so than the families that lost loved ones due to the disease. And the solution is to help these families by creating a memorial book about their loved ones that help keep the memory alive in their hearts and minds for generations to come. And what my nonprofit organization is going to do is give away a free Lifelines memorial book to every family in the world that lost someone due to COVID-19. So
very powerful. Okay, so the problem today is, and then I want you to name the amount of deaths, right? We got, in the United States alone, more than 80,000 people dying of COVID. And so there are some things you can do to create a lifeline to the people you love. And one is put together a memory book now, while the people you love are alive. So again,
well,
Lyle,
that's a
stepping
different
back,
book.
this is for all of you.
That's a memorial book. This is the, I'm sorry, that's the memoir book. This is the memorial book after they've passed.
Okay, got it. So still what you're doing though is telling people what to do, so to speak, so that their memory can be kept alive. I think that's really a key, is to and this is for all of you, don't get too caught up in what I would call the details of the story, because you saw that with Yasmin and even with Lyle. You know, we want to take a high level as much as possible and give people real good things that they can do. Make sense, Lyle?
Yeah, well,
And then, yeah.
with what we need to do with this is to get the message out so that it comes from the top down. Because as I was explaining to someone earlier today, you can't do this on a grassroots level where you just try to find individual families that lost someone. It's going to take too much time and money and everything else to locate 250,000 families, you know, as of today. So what we want to do is go to, you know, the 5 different types of institutions, the schools, the religious organizations, the NPOs, the NGOs, the government agencies, and the businesses, and work from the top down. And what I want to do is to get people on board who are these influencers, and then we go ahead and make the announcement on Memorial Day where everyone's making the same announcement at the same time.
Beautiful. That's powerful. And the story is about memorializing the people you love. See, you're into the tactics. This is, by the way, and thank you for kind of demonstrating that, because this is for many of you, is that you get into the tactics versus tell us and engage us in the stories. That makes sense, Lyle? And then I'm going to move on to Terry.
Yeah, but I wanted to go ahead and share the tactics because I think that's important about how we get there, right?
Yes. Yes, I get that. I get that. But I want you to keep taking that. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want you to take a bigger bird's eye view of why, and for you, the story is, this is why it's important to remember the ones we love. And of course, people know that, but you're reminding them and then engaging people in the project of remembering. And I think that'll be much more powerful. Much more powerful.
Share some stories at the time.
Yes, exactly. Get people into the stories. You know, here's the thing, my friends, you have to touch people in the heart and the gut. You got to touch people in the heart and the gut. Write that down, because when you can do that, that's the story that matters to most. That's the story that matters to most. Terry, I'm going to take you, and then we're going to go back to slides, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take even more questions. Terry, go ahead.
So I teach heart-based communication skills to families. And I've been calling my group, my meetup group, Heart-Based Communication. And I just changed my drop-in group to Cooped Up and Crazy.
Like it.
Stay sane during sheltering. Stay sane, tools to stay sane while sheltering. So it's a little more urgent, and it's kind of acknowledging that we're cooped up and crazy, right? We What do you think about
First of all,
that?
I like
idea?
that. I like that, Terry. I like cooped up and crazy.
Okay.
I think that's a fun thing. And I think many of you have this sort of fun things, right? And like cooped up and crazy, you know, how to stay sane in COVID times is a great, for instance, blog. I want y'all to think about 500-word articles, and then take those articles. Mary Beth, please put these two resources on of where they put their articles, which would be easinarticles.com and goarticles.com. And again, like you did with, and she's going to put it in the chat. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And what you're going to do is, for instance, you're going to do something similar to the iTunes piece, in that you'll put in, you know, cooped up and crazy in COVID times, right? And you'll have somebody, you'll look to see who's doing articles on this, who might be blogging about this, and start Googling the terms that some of you are coming up with. It could be health, it could be parenting, it could be image, it could be kindness, it could be fill in the blanks, right? For all of you, you all have different kinds of topics, and I want you to start Googling and seeing who's talking about those topics. I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised to find many who are interested in your topic, or would be talking about something similar where you could join forces, and then connect to each other, so that your forces multiply, like Lyle's project, for example, right? And so what I find in these times is the collaboration is really important. And you want to be collaborating and connecting. Collaborate and connect, two C's. Put that in your brain, like, who can I reach out to collaborate and to connect? I think that's really important right now, and a really good thing to be asking. Okay, so that's super important. Wonderful. Does that help, Terry?
Yes, thank you, Jill.
Okay, great. You're welcome. My pleasure. Good. And then what I'd like to do is remind you again, let's go to Just Say Yes, because I want all of you to keep saying yes to the media, to create new opportunities to say yes to. You see what I'm doing about creating kindness circles. You see where I'm getting out in the world in a new way right now. And I think that's really a key. And I want to give you an opportunity, if I might, to tell you how you can actually work with me. Let's get down deep and real about your message. And what I do is a virtual publicity course. I'm going to tell you about this, and I'm going to then come back and we're going to take some more questions from you. Now, some of you were asking about, well, how do I put a bio together? We are going to do in the course, check it out. We're going to do your bio, your message. We're going to have less than 30 people in each course, so it's really personalized attention. We're going to really, I'm going to spill all the secrets that most people will never tell you in a wonderful virtual day, and literally cover everything from messaging to the press release and everything in between. You're going to actually get it done in the course. It won't be perfect, but it'll be done. That's the important part. And then you're going to have 4 templates that you can use ongoingly for any project that you wish. Okay. Now, what's wonderful about this, my friends, is that I did pandemic pricing. And so usually if you go to publicitycrashcourse.com, and please do, because there's lots of great testimonials, you will see that the course is going for $1,297. So let me say that we have, shall we say, really looked at what's going to work, and I'm really committed to helping you get your message out. So we're giving you our bring a friend rate of only $197. And that is pandemic pricing. So you go to publicitycrashcourse.com/registration. You enter the promo code Stay Visible, all case sensitive, all one word, please. And come join us on a wonderful journey to literally do the publicity that you've been meaning to do and literally get it done. We got lots of dates happening. Choose a date that will work for you. Coming right up. And I know that this will be a great answer for some of you. And if you even need to divide that payment in half, we've got options for you to do that. So come join us, come play, and really make your day committed to making your message matter and getting your message out. Because if you think this is good, wait till you see what I got all day for you. Those of you who've been in the course know that the power of what happens in publicity in the day-long course is what you will walk out with, knowing the next step and taking it confidently and speaking your message in a way that brings and attracts business to you and prospects to you. The power of publicity is that it attracts your clients to you. And I think that's very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. So again, go to publicitycrashcourse.com/registration and use the promo code Stay Visible, all case sensitive, all one word. All right. That's my fabulous offer to you. And I would love to come back to you and ask you, well, first of all, I know, raise your hand if you've actually been to the course. I know many of you have, which is just terrific. And Patsy, maybe you can even chat in there something great about it, or if you want to say it out loud or whatever. Terry, whoever would like to give a testimonial, that'd be super cool. Gail, I know you've been on it. And then we'll go take some more questions. Patsy, you want to say anything?
Yeah, her course is so power-packed, you could hardly get it all in, but she gives you great materials to use, and she really helps you really see yourself in a different light and be able to present yourself in a way that's a lot more fun and exciting. She's a master. Totally love working with Jill, so thank you, Jill.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for being there. And thank you. Oh, thank you guys. That's so sweet. How many nice comments. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Well, I would love to come back and ask for questions. How may I help you? How may I serve you? Raise your hand if you have a question, or raise the hand in the chat, or chat. You can just chat any way you'd like. How can I help you? Patsy, go ahead. And then who's after Patsy? Mary Beth, do you see any specific hands up, so to speak, just so I know and can manage time a little bit?
So I want to play and see if this works.
Wait, Patsy, one sec.
Go ahead.
Patsy, bear with me just one sec. Mary Beth, who's after Patsy, just so I understand timing a little bit.
I don't see anybody raising their hand just yet, but I'll keep an eye out. Oh, Lyle,
Okay.
Lyle has his hand up again.
Okay, Lyle, I need to let someone else go though first, if they have a question. And
That's why I raised it.
Mary Beth, let me know. And if not, Lyle, definitely back to you. Okay, so go for it, Patsy.
Okay, so the problem today is we all have such a closet full of clothes we don't wear. And the latest statistic is that we really only wear 25% of the clothes in our closet. So we could change that. You know, right now you might be bored like I've been, and it's been really fun to go through my closet. And I have a quick little 5-day course that's like, is creativity hiding in your closet? But there's some simple ways for us to go through and actually get rid of stuff, and we can breathe. Actually, we can breathe, and we feel so much better about ourselves. Plus, the cool thing is you can pass it on to a sister. You can pass it on to a...
Okay, stop. Wait,
Okay.
wait. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. So here's your message. You know, the problem today is 25% of the clothes in your closet, you only really wear 25% of them. So in this pandemic time, I'm going to challenge you to clean out your closet, excuse me, and find the clothes that give you joy. Find the outfits that give you joy. And here are 3 tips for how to do that, Patsy, and then you do that, okay? And since I've had the pleasure working with you, I know you got those tips. I know you know what to tell people. So remember, my friends, appetizers, not full meals, right? You tell people some things to do, but don't give away all your secrets. You want to give value and benefit. When I wrote Guerrilla Publicity, this is the book Guerrilla Publicity, coming out as 3rd edition this year, which is so exciting. I got the opportunity to talk to Fast Company. And the editor at Fast Company, you know what she told me? She said, you got to give people value and benefit, right? And so with that, I always want you to think about in your message, are you giving value and benefit? Are you telling people some good things? So I think that's really a key. Give value and benefit at all times. So this is for all of you. Give value and benefit in your message. Tell people what to do.
Thank you.
Right? Does that help, Patsy?
Yeah.
So it's a shift of your message. And I think like Yasmin, I was saying, it's a shift of your message. You guys have the core of the apple. Now we got to have the whole apple, but without giving away every part of it. It's an yes and, right? It's a yes and. Take the core of your story, integrate it, and then give that value to people. And with that value, you're going to give the next step, right, of the story. And I think that's really, really an important part.
Thank you.
Okay, Mary Beth, you bet, my pleasure. Is there anyone else who had a question? And if you do now, raise your hands or forever hold your peace. Well, at least through the end of the webinar.
So,
Are you seeing anything, Mary Beth?
Gail has something.
yeah.
Perfect. Go ahead,
Hang
Gail.
on. So I wonder, Jill, if you would give an example of a concise problem solution statement that is concise and contained. The problem today is blank, and so that we can hear how you would tie that up and avoid what you've talked about in terms of giving away the store or putting the whole meal. Would you give an example of such a statement?
Absolutely happy to do it. I'll actually give you, and I'll use mine if I might.
Sure.
So I would say something like, and I do, I say this, the problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. I want to give you 3 guerrilla publicity tips today for how to get your message in the media. The first way to get noticed is to create your ooh-ah factor. The second way is to create the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And the third way is focus on networking magic. Show up in your communities at least twice a month for name and face recognition.
Thank you.
So my friends, that's my message. You bet. Thank you, Gal. 15 seconds, really. I've timed it. And you notice that's why I get a little interrupted with people, because the media has no patience for messages that go on. And if you go on and on, you will be eliminated. I don't want you to be eliminated. I want you to be connected to them. I want you to deliver fast and focused messages that ingratiate and connect to the media in a way that makes you a yes to them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really a key for many of you, is getting that message clear. We're going to do this in the course. We're going to have a time to actually create your message and focus in and focus down and get those sleeves rolled up. See, I'm rolling up my sleeves. And get those sleeves rolled up to connect to your message. And I think that's really important, that you understand and then articulate it simply and easily.
Thank you.
I hope that helped, Gail. And by the way, let me just share with you, you got it, that in that message, here's what else I did. I gave you real PR information. I condensed a 24-year career of publicity
Into 3 points.
very simple steps. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
That's right, with 3 points that were simple and easy. Do you notice I also used 5-year-old language? I didn't give you any big words. I didn't use any PR jargon, which I could have. I could have boggled your mind with PR jargon if you'd like, but I don't like it. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. I don't like it because it'll turn people off and it'll force them to stop listening. And so this is the thing I mostly feel strong about, is that you've got to really engage people. And the way to engage them is in short, clear, focused answers.
Well, and I,
Lyle, did you, go ahead, Gail.
well, what I heard, and it interestingly didn't pick up the first time I went through your publicity course, but when I listened to you with this statement this time, your message statement essentially gave people what could be the headline or the lead for their press release, their intro to the story, their segment title, whatever is. The problem today is this, and here's the solution, 3 points. So you essentially handed them the hook that they needed to pick up and sell your story.
You got it. Exactly, Gail. I know, it is interesting. This is the thing about knowledge, right? And learning and relearning. And I welcome you, Gail. I'm glad you're here because you heard something different. You know, something else went kerplunk is what I call it. So, I mean, with my coaches, I've had one for 12 years. I keep going to. Why? Well, because I hear things in different ways every time. You know, so for me, the investment is the time and the focus, and of course the money to keep listening from a new ear, so that I hear differently, and I get, you know, new results. So that's the power of publicity. And the truth about publicity is it's an evolving process. You're an evolutionary process of publicity. So every time I've had a new book, right? Guerrilla Publicity is coming out in 3rd edition this time. The Profit of Kindness is coming out in India and Russia. Russia by the end of the year, and India the end of last year. Because I help people sell foreign rights for their books. In fact, Ashton, who's on here, going to be taking her to the Frankfurt Book Fair in her book. You know, so every time a new book is out, it's a new story. Every time a new project you have downloaded, it's a new story. And I think that's really important for all of you to understand, that your story is different as you are different. Your story evolves as you evolve. And your story keeps connected to the focus of who you are, and that you're upgrading that message continuously and ongoingly. So that even though Profit of Kindness came out about 1.5 years ago, something like that, we have a new story now. It's called How Do You Be Kind in Pandemic Times, right? And how do you keep your story out there consistently, connected,ly, and with in mind what's going on right now. So I want you to have, these are PR antennas, okay? You see these? These, everybody go like this. Come on, go like this. Make your PR antennas. I want to see you. Come on, girls got to have some fun, right? Make your PR antennas. Yes, yes, I love that. Oh, that's so cute. Mary Beth, catch a screenshot of that. That is fun. Come on, PR antennas up. Wait, we're going to get a screenshot. Mary Beth, would you take a screenshot? I'm going to ask you to do a screenshot. You can take your phone and do it.
All right,
Take your phone and do it. Okay, everybody, wait, your PR antennas, everybody got them? Woo, woo, woo. PR antennas. Keep them up, because you got to be receiving all that good information.
Got it.
Peace signs. Yes, that's fun too. Double the fun. And so when you got your PR antennas up, right? The power of that is you're able to receive new information. You're able to receive new stories that are going to work for now. And that, my friends, is good news. So I thank you for the opportunity to serve you today. I thank you for the opportunity to be here with all of you and to help you on your next steps of your PR journey. I'm looking forward to those who are going to work with me in the publicity course. Mary Beth put in the chat how to come in at my pandemic pricing. No kidding. Those of you who've invested with me before, you know this is new and pandemic pricing so that I can help so many of you. And it's publicitycrashcourse.com/registration and put in the code Stay Visible, all lowercase, all one word. And I can't wait to help you at the next step of your publicity. And really, my heartfelt message to all of you is that your message matters. Your message matters. Thank you for coming, everyone. Keep your message out there, and I'll see some of you on my class coming up soon. Ciao for now.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
everybody.
so welcome.
Thanks, Jill.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.